This is The Scoop for Monday.
Good morning. I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines. As Hillsborough County has nearly 3,000 inmates booked in county jails on any given day, once an inmate is released, they face a number of obstacles on their path back to a normal life. While reporting for WMNF, I went through a reentry simulator which helps employees and local officials in the criminal justice system better understand the roadblocks facing formerly convicted persons. Imagine you just got out of jail. You have no money, no phone, and no identification.
I have an accounting degree, and I still am having a hard time getting where I need to go in life because I don't have any money. I didn't save any money before I went in.
That's Robert Kellums with the Hillsborough County Public Defender's Office. He's not the only one astounded with how far back the prison system can put people. Attorneys, judges, and other local officials went through a simulated re-entry to help them understand how the current criminal justice system may not be best designed to help people turn their lives around after making a wrong turn. Judge Giardina works in the 13th Judicial Circuit Court of Hillsborough County and tried the simulator.
This is as close as we can come to the real experience. You know, probably the only other way you could experience it is to live it yourself.
He put himself in the shoes of an ex-convict.
I've applied for a job. Now my paperwork says I've got a four-year college degree in accounting, but did 4 years in federal prison for fraud.
He had trouble getting a job and found himself selling his own plasma just to get by.
So it's not money. What it is it's a card. It's a check.
It's like a voucher. Okay.
Yeah, for $25. Now I got to go wait in line.
Deborah Belanti is the Director of Communications and Community Relations at the Hillsborough County Tax Collector's Office and found herself struggling to stay afloat.
I have to buy food. I've got to do the UA test, and I have also got to go to my AA meeting.
So what happens if you don't get it all done?
At some point, I think if I'm under probation, I might go to jail. Which I don't want to do that, although I will eat in jail.
But she said the simulator gave her some ideas on how to improve life for inmates as they finish their sentences.
Maybe coming to the prisons with mobile units would be helpful. Like maybe coming to them and providing ID for them at the mobile unit at prison before they leave would be the ideal thing to do.
The reentry simulator was part of the second annual Tampa Bay Criminal Justice Summit hosted by Horizon Communities. For more information, go to WMNF.org/news. In September, the Tampa City Council voted against a major property tax increase proposed by Mayor Jane Castor. WMNF's Chris Young reports that one city council member spoke Friday as to why he voted to reject Castor's proposed increase.
Guido Maniscalco was strongly against the proposed increase.
People look at it as, oh, you stood up to the mayor. I didn't stand up to anybody. I did the right thing, and I listened to my constituents.
Castor's proposal would have increased the property tax by 16%. This would add about $232 annually to the average home's tax bill, according to the Tampa Bay Times.
And we had people from wealthy and affluent areas to people in underserved, impoverished areas saying, we just can't do it. We're struggling enough, and now you want to add this. I've never seen such an unpopular item come before council, and I've been here long enough to see and be a part of controversial issues.
He also addressed the $108 million city center that opened in East Tampa recently. The 161,000 square foot complex on East Hannah Avenue is one of the city's largest capital projects.
I don't think I would have built Hannah to begin with. Again, I'm cheap. You know, forget the bidding process.
There was controversy earlier this year over concerns that the East Tampa government complex will get built with little help from minority-owned contractors. Castor promised to ensure minority participation on the building. For WMNF News, I'm Chris Young in Tampa.
New College of Florida's President Richard Corcoran is set to earn up to $1.3 million per year in salary and benefits under a 5-year contract approved Friday. The deal steers hundreds of thousands of dollars in deferred compensation and retention payments to Corcoran, who served as interim president prior to being tapped earlier this month by New College's Board of Trustees to lead the school on a permanent basis. The board on Friday signed off on Corcoran's employment agreement, which will need final approval from the State University's Systems Board of Governors. The Sarasota Herald-Tribune reports on Wednesday, Republican governor and presidential hopeful Ron DeSantis took time off the campaign trail to dedicate a county park that was renamed in his honor. But later in the day, he held a presidential fundraiser at an exclusive golf club near the park, where guests paid a minimum of $1,500 to hear the governor talk about Israel and other issues. The issue lies in the fact that DeSantis flew to Wednesday's events in his state plane, raising the question of whether taxpayer resources benefited his presidential campaign. State law prohibits the state's elected chief executive from using the plane for personal use, but by stacking two Manatee County events, one official and one personal, taxpayers may be covering flights to fundraisers. Home and yard maintenance throughout hurricane season is extremely important as a storm could threaten Florida at any time. This includes keeping trees trimmed and free of excess branches. But protected trees such as mangroves are essential to the health of local ecosystems and should be handled with care or not at all. WGCU's Tara Callaghan reports from the Lee County UF-IFAS extension in Terry Park.
Mangroves are incredibly beneficial to Florida's environment, and they wear a lot of proverbial hats. Mangroves play a critical role in a lot of marine ecosystems, filtering the water, acting as a nursery habitat, and maintaining healthy biodiversity. Mangroves also protect Southwest Florida's coastlines from storm surge and other harmful impacts from major storms and hurricanes. David Outerbridge is a sustainable food systems and natural resources agent for UF-IFAS Extension in Lee County. He's originally from Bermuda and saw firsthand what happens to a coastal region that loses its mangroves.
And there was an area in Bermuda where they cut down all the mangroves. So the first thing that happens is there was subsidence. Actually, the land sunk into the ocean.
He adds that the same thing would happen if there was a massive loss of mangroves in Southwest Florida, and that it would also completely change the way water moves around the coast.
So it would be detrimental to Florida's coast as we know them now. I'm not saying that there new ecosystems and things wouldn't form, but as we know it now, it would really affect a lot of our built environments as well as other contingent ecosystems.
When it comes to hurricanes, Outerbridge notes a recent example with the aftermath of Hurricane Ian.
So if you think about storm surge, if you look at Pine Island, I went to go and review with all the farmers out there after the storm, and everywhere on the north of the island has a huge belt of mangroves. Didn't really get much storm surge, but in those little pockets like St. James City, there was quite a lot of storm surge that came in. So they're really important in protecting the coast from waves.
Pruning of all mangrove species is regulated under the Mangrove Act by the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. That includes personal homes and property. Outerbridge adds that mangroves could also benefit your bank account, too.
I mean, if you think about 20, 30 years of growth, that's an immense amount of value. And if we want a mature landscape, a mangrove can add to that.
Learn more about mangrove maintenance at the UF-IFAS and Florida Department of Environmental Protection websites. For WGCU News, I'm Tara Callaghan.
For the weather, it's cool and cloudy in the Tampa Bay area. Highs today around 90, overnight lows in the mid-60s. Tomorrow will be sunny and warm with highs in the upper 80s. I'm Josh Holton with the WMNF News headlines on 88.5 FM and the WMNF app.
This is The Scoop, recorded at WMNF Tampa.